Tony, thank you very much. Good evening. Just 6 days to go in this transfer window. Let's start with Arsenal and big developments today on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. We are told he wants to leave Arsenal after turning down a new contract that would have earned him £180,000 a week. He's into the final year of his current deal, and Arsenal will tell him in the next 24 hours if he can move in this window. With both Chelsea and Liverpool interested, the news will come as a huge blow to boss Arsene Wenger, who cited Oxlade-Chamberlain as one of the players that the team should be built around in years to come. Will be very interesting to see if Oxlade-Chamberlain features against Liverpool on Sunday. There will also be a keen eye on whether defender Shkodran Mustafi plays at Anfield on Sunday. Inter Milan are interested in signing the German international on loan with an option to buy. Wenger didn't rule out the possibility of Mustafa leaving yesterday. He joined from Valencia for £35 million only last summer. Now, staying with Arsenal and the potential departures continue, Deportivo La Coruña were hoping to have re-signed striker Lucas Perez by now, but there's still work to do before an agreement on a price is reached. There is, though, a willingness from all parties to make that move happen. To West Ham United, and in the past hour we have learnt that they have pulled out of a deal to sign Sporting Lisbon midfielder William Carvalho. West Ham decided to walk away after Sporting refused to lower their £40 million valuation. West Ham also have concerns about Carvalho's fitness. Now, a senior source at the club said he just got too expensive and you have to say no sometimes. Also, he's not trained for 3 weeks. He has done no pre-season training, so he might have needed 4 to 6 weeks to be ready to play for us. So, West Ham and Carvalho, deal off. News of a departure now from West Ham United, and the winger Robert Snodgrass has joined Aston Villa on a season-long loan. Sunderland and Birmingham were also interested. We understand Villa have the option to make the move permanent. The deal may pave the way for striker Ross McCormack to move to Sunderland. To the soap opera now, that is Diego Costa. The striker is still striking. Costa is still in Brazil and he's still refusing to come back to Chelsea. He's still, though, getting picked to play with his mates. These are the pictures of Costa out in Brazil. He only wants to return to Atletico Madrid, but they don't want to pay the £50 million asking price. And what's more, they are banned from registering players until January.
One player who isn't training still is Diego Costa. What's the latest situation there?
The same, and no news.
Is it frustrating for you as a manager to be in this situation with Diego?
No, absolutely.
Short and sweet from Antonio Conte on Diego Costa. Now, you may have noticed Everton appear to be keeping an eye on the Costa situation. Boss Ronald Koeman wants a striker and was asked if it was possible to bring in Costa on loan.
I don't know. I said always a warm welcome for every good player, and he's a good player.
Sounds to me like Ronald Koeman is interested. What about departures at Goodison Park? Well, time is running out for midfielder Ross Barkley to get a move. He's into the final year of his contract. He's not going to sign a new one, and he's currently out injured. Chelsea and Tottenham are interested, but could he yet play a part for Everton this season?
If Ross is staying, and I'm pleased if he stays, because he's one more good player in the team. And okay, that's a decision by the board, but what we need to talk about.
Yeah, could be a busy end to the window for Everton. To Manchester City we go now, and there could be big changes in their defensive ranks before the window closes. Inter Milan are edging closer to a loan deal for Eliakim Mangala. City's preference is to sell Mangala, but it's thought the player only wants to go to Inter. Mangala has not played under Pep Guardiola, having been on loan at Valencia last season. City, you remember, bought him from Porto for £32 million 3 years ago and want to get this one over the line quickly so that they can focus on other targets. And those other targets include the West Brom defender Johnny Evans. City are expected to go back in with an improved bid early next week after having had an £18 million offer rejected. West Brom don't want to sell, don't need to sell, but will sell if they receive an acceptable amount.
You have to be a little bit careful, but in another way, you'd want him to get that game time if he can get that game time.
Has there been any other contact from Man City? Have they opened their bid at all?
Again, John and the directors would be dealing with that. At present, I think there's been no contact for the last couple of days. So, Johnny's a West Bromwich Albion player. We're hoping that we can get this situation resolved and move on.
It's very interesting how Tony Pulis's responses regarding Evans have subtly changed. 2 weeks ago, the stance was not for sale. That became every player has his price. And now he simply hopes that Johnny Evans stays at the Hawthorns. Now, staying with West Brom, and they are looking for defensive reinforcements themselves, whether Evans stays or goes. But it seems their interest in Tottenham's Kevin Wimmer has cooled, and it appears it could be a straight fight between Crystal Palace and Stoke City.
I made an inquiry, that's my understanding. We'll wait and see in terms of the response to that. But as we stand, obviously he's a Tottenham player and they dictate what they feel they need to happen in terms of his future, and obviously the player has a view on that as well.
Yeah, it could be a busy end to the window at Tottenham. Wimmer seemingly on his way out. Could keeper Michel Vorm follow him? Well, we are told Crystal Palace are interested. Palace boss Frank de Boer has made no secret of his desire to bring in a keeper, but would not be drawn on any names. Now, one man who has left Tottenham is the defender Cameron Carter-Vickers. He has joined Sheffield United on a season-long loan. More from Sheffield United a bit later, but could Carter-Vickers' departure accelerate an incoming at Tottenham Hotspur? Well, we are told they are back in talks for this man. He is the Estudiantes defender Juan Foyth. He's 19 years old and he's been capped 12 times by Argentina's under-20s. The deal had looked off earlier in the window as Tottenham felt the asking price was simply too high. Another player edging closer to a move to Tottenham is the PSG defender Serge Aurier. The French club won £23 million for the player. Tottenham boss Mauricio Pochettino wasn't giving too much away on specific names, but did say Tottenham will be active.
We are working hard, yes, to trying to strengthen the squad, to bring a few players more, and yes, big effort from our chairman Daniel and Steve, our chief scout, trying to find the right profile. Yes, we are working hard, big effort from the club to trying to strengthen our squad. I said 4 players before. Okay, 1 keeper plus 4. Okay, maybe 3 more.
Go back to Atletico Madrid. They don't want to pay the £50 million asking price, and they're banned from registering players anyway until January. So the standoff continues. Now, Antonio Conte says the situation with Costa has not changed.
One player who isn't training still is Diego Costa. What's the latest situation there?
The same, and no news.
Is it frustrating for you as a manager to be in this situation with Diego?
No, absolutely.
Now, it's not just Atletico Madrid who want him. Other clubs want to sign Costa. One of those clubs is Everton. Of course, the big problem is that Costa has told Chelsea he only wants to go back to Madrid, but time is running out and other clubs know that he's still available.
Obviously, you've spoken about. I see, though, Diego Costa seems to be linked with players. Would that ever be a possibility, a loan move for Diego Costa?
I don't know. I said always a warm welcome for every good player, and he's a good player.
Now, staying at Everton, and Ross Barkley is still a target for clubs like Spurs and Chelsea. Barkley, of course, has just a year left on his contract, and he's refused to sign a new deal. Kylian Mbappe's move from Monaco to PSG is getting very, very close today. Our colleagues at Sky in Italy reporting that a £140 million deal could be done in the next few hours. Now, that would make him, and not Dembele, the second most expensive player in the world after Neymar. Mbappe is in the French squad for their upcoming qualifiers against Holland and Luxembourg. And France manager Didier Deschamps doesn't want players to be negotiating transfers while they're on international duty next week. That's why there's a real push to get this deal done before Monday. Mbappe, bear in mind, has turned down Real Madrid to move to PSG. Let's go from Mbappe a bit closer to home and the latest on Johnny Evans. The former Manchester United defender is a man in demand. Manchester City want him. We're expecting them to come back in with a new improved offer after this weekend's games. West Brom have already turned down a City offer of £19 million.
Again, John and the directors would be dealing with that. At present, I think there's been no contact for the last couple of days. So, Johnny's a West Bromwich Albion player. We're hoping that we can get this situation resolved and move on.
We were told that another club is interested in him, potentially Arsenal. Is that anything you're aware of?
That's the first I've heard of it. The Arsenal were interested last summer and made an offer last summer for Johnny, but I don't think this football club's received anything from Arsenal yet.
So Johnny Evans could be leaving, but West Brom have been busy. Today they've signed RB Leipzig winger Oliver Burke. Now, Burke left Nottingham Forest for Germany last summer for £13 million, but he started just 5 league games last season. He's now signed a 5-year deal at West Brom. The fee could rise to about £15 million.